comic and author. Now the newest Netflix special is called Mouthful of Shame. Jim Norton is here. Really appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you.
A lot of people maybe describe your comedy as a little bit dark.
Oh, yeah.
At Sports Illustrated, maybe you describe your comedy as dark. Sports Illustrated, we've long had this thing called Sign of the Apocalypse.
Like if someone said if the Cubs win, it's a sign of the apocalypse.
Something like
rare.
that.
Yeah,
okay. So what do you see from the sports world that you think would now be a sign that the world may be coming to an end? Because we can't use the Cubs at this point. Or maybe other things you see in sports that just really bother you.
I'd say that Conor McGregor might fight Floyd Mayweather.
That's a sign of the apocalypse for sure.
And I'm an MMA. I love mixed martial arts. I love UFC.
You host a podcast, sure.
Matt Serra and myself, yeah. And the fight may happen, and I'll be honest, I don't even like Conor that much, but I'll absolutely watch it, and I'll absolutely root for him. I don't know if he'll win. Mayweather annoys me. He's just too fast. He ducks. It bugs me. I can't watch boxing anymore. I watched the Triple G fight. I was like, and I love watching him, but I was really annoyed. Three-minute rounds seem too short now when you're watching 5-minute UFC rounds. By the way, this is being said by a guy who does 1 minute on the Versa Climber and wants to have a stroke. So the nerve of me to criticize athletes and how long they're fighting for. I should shut up.
What do you not like about Conor? You said you're not a fan.
I don't know, because I've never interviewed him. Normally, it's like he's just beating up people I like. Like, I like Eddie Alvarez very much. I love Jose Aldo. So he's just always, and he's cocky. But I liked him, but I've seen him interviewed in defeat. I like the way he handled defeat. You know what I mean? He went out, he talked about it, he was respectful. So against Floyd Mayweather, I'll love him. But I just don't like it. I'm such a sucker. Like, I don't like somebody, and then I meet him. I'm like, hi, it's great to meet you. And then I love him. So if Conor just did an interview on UFC Unfiltered, I would love him, because he really is a fun guy to watch.
What makes you think that Conor would stand any chance against Floyd Mayweather if they are boxing?
Because he hits harder. I mean, look, Floyd is very, very fast. And Floyd has a huge advantage, because he's used to fighting from the waist up. I mean, you have to be fast to move your legs, but you don't have to worry about takedowns. You don't have to worry about being kicked in the face. Conor is now fighting without those, but then again, Conor now no longer has to worry about that, so he can only concentrate on punching. So he's not going to do as poorly as people think he's going to do, and he hits way harder than anybody thinks he hits. Everyone who fights him says he hits a lot harder than you think, and he's a lot faster and a lot more accurate than you think. So I really want to see him punch Floyd right in the face. He
always seems like he has a wit. You know, he does seem like he's a pretty funny guy. How do you think he would do in the comedian circle?
I think he would do pretty well, because he's just completely unintimidated. Or if he's nervous or if he's shy, he doesn't show it better than anybody doesn't show it. Like, I have no idea what kind of guy. I've met him briefly. He was pleasant, but he seemed confident. I think he'd do well as a comedian, because half of it is just being confident and making people think that you know what you're talking about. That's all being a talking head on the news network says. I'm telling you, healthcare, shut up. They never know what they're talking about, but they sound smart because they look into the camera and they seem definitive.
The false confidence.
The false confidence. It's all acting. It's crap.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it.
You're a Dallas Cowboy fan who grew up less than 20 miles away from Giant Stadium?
You know, I don't know. My first memory is Super Bowl 13. It was that horrible 35-31 loss where Jackie Smith drops a pass in the end zone. But I remember not understanding why Bradshaw was taking a knee. So back then, I didn't know as much about football, and I think my whole family hated Dallas and was rooting for the Steelers. So I believe I just rooted for the Cowboys. Plus, they were on Thanksgiving, so I kind of liked them. I wish I would have known Thomas Hollywood Henderson was doing coke out of that Vicks inhaler. I would have loved him even more back then, because he did do that.
Yeah, right. No, the stories are legendary. You know, there was just actually a very interesting article that was written about specifically NBA players, but why they're not doing drugs as much. But they also talk about the Tinderization of the NBA. Basically, that because of social media, players don't have to go to clubs to meet women anymore.
They don't.
They can meet them on social media. The women can be waiting in their hotel rooms when they're done with the games, when they're on the road. I mean, if you are a rich and famous basketball player, what would this be like for you?
Do you understand what a disaster I would be as a sports figure? How there'd be photos of me nude that I've taken and sent, how quickly my text messages would make it. You know, Lakers center Jim Norton, it's all, as a comedian, nobody cares because you tell on yourself. As a ball player, I would be an abomination. An abomination. And by the way, I think that social media is probably the reason these guys don't go out as much, like you said, but not just because they can meet the girls, because they know everything they do is videotaped and photographed and captured, and you got to be so careful, because if you're making $16 million a year and you get drunk and you throw a glass at somebody, that's a lot of money to lose. There's too much to lose, and it's going to get reported on social media too.
Do you have any advice that you'd give to athletes now that we are in the social media world, now that you are basically living your love life on social media or, through text?
Yeah, if you want a nice girlfriend, don't get on stage and go, guess what I do when I'm alone? Because that's never going to get you a nice girlfriend. I thought, oh, they'll appreciate the honesty. Wasn't I sadly mistaken? They don't appreciate the honesty. They're like, you're a creep. So that's what I would suggest to athletes. Keep doing what you do because you guys get the best women by far.
Have you ever made a joke about someone in the sports world that's come back to haunt you?
I bashed Derek Jeter, and I kind of wish I didn't. Because
What did you say about him?
Because he blew me off for a photo one time. He wasn't particular, or to sign a pic. He wasn't really nice. And it's like, you know what, man, this guy does charity work. You know, he's one of my favorite ball players of all time. I'm an ass. Sometimes you just realize, like, I should have shut up and just been like, hey, he wasn't nice, and then moved along. That I kind of regret.
Have you had a chance to make it right with him and apologize for?
No, I don't think he would even know who I was. He probably never heard it. He's Jeter. I mean, when you're living in Jeter's world, you're not like, what does that mediocre little man say? It'd be literally like, do I know what cockroaches have said about me? No, I don't.
Oh, come on, Jim. You're better than that. You're better than that. Too self-deprecating at that point. You are so deeply personal in your stand-up. Mouthful of Shame is no different. It's on Netflix right now. And I'm curious because not only are you personal, I'm sure a lot of comics are personal. They take things from their lives. But you take them and you say, yes, this is all true.
Yeah.
This isn't just inspired by. This is actually true. It did happen. How does that affect your relationship with your family and friends?
My family, we avoid eye contact. You know, it's funny. My mother wrote me a text. This special was particularly graphic and personal. And, you know, my mother wrote the special. I was blown away by it. And I was like, oh, thanks, Mom, love you. And that's it. We haven't seen each other yet. But my family is great. Like, they're really open. They don't care. And I just feel like you got to tell the truth. You have to. It's like, you know, I want to be funny, but it's like I can't criticize you if I'm not making fun of myself a little bit, too. And why not tell the truth about this stuff? It's like, I call it mouthful of shame, but it's like that's everybody's greatest fear is being shamed. All these sexual scandals, all these things where you tweet the wrong thing or you say the wrong thing, it's about being shamed in front of people. And it's like, why? Shame is such a powerful thing. And like when you're wrapped up in it, it's usually your secrets, you know? Usually we're as sick as our secrets. So I figure if I vomit it all, nothing changes, but I'm not as ashamed.
Listen, you took a big risk, but it's been a big reward. It's hilarious.
Thank you.
Special is out now. Mouthful of Shame. Jim Norton,
I really
appreciate your time.
Thanks for watching it.